Oh, yay!
So, okay, so Maggie's question is what the cross section should look like on the actual three-dimensional shape.
Yeah.
It can take many forms. It doesn't have to be something specific. Let me get the models that I have.
Wait, so can we just choose one from the book or no?
You can.
Yeah, you can.
You can choose a problem from the book.
Oh, that might
Okay.
make my life easier.
So if you did something like this, every single piece of cardboard is a cross section. So this one, something like that or like that, has multiple cross sections in it. And you know, if you were to take this apart, you would be able to see one of those slices. Same idea with one of these here. You've got, you know, squares that go throughout, and each one of them is a cross section. The one like this here, you can't take it apart, but you can see that that cross section goes all the way through. And you know, you can kind of imagine what each of them looks like. Then you've got smaller ones in the middle, bigger ones on the ends. This was one that somebody did where it doesn't have, you know, a cross section that goes all the way through. I think what they did was they created something on the inside and then actually rolled up a piece and kind of wrapped it around. And so each one of those little bands is representing one of the discs for that particular object there. So, so that kind of thing would be okay too. Let's see, Maggie, you asked if you could have a shape and then just kind of draw that cross section on the outside, and people have done that before also. Just make sure it's really clear, you know, what shape that cross section is and that it does appear to go all the way through. Because like I said, this one doesn't go all the way through, but you could kind of imagine, you know, if you were to take it apart at one of those circles there, what that specific cross section might look like.
Okay.
Okay.
So you don't care what problem we can like choose from the book, right?
Say that again, Christine.
You don't care what problem we choose from the book. You just mainly want us to understand it and then build the thing.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that, you know, you could show your understanding more by picking a problem that's not in the book. I think that you could use something in the book if you're not really sure, you know, exactly what you're doing or how to do this. I think that, you know, the more you want to try to create something on your own, the more that shows that you understand it. And that's not something that is getting graded. It's just something that you might choose to do to, you know, to make it more interesting for yourself or something.
Okay. Does it have to be washer method or no?
It can be disc or washer method. You could also do cross sections that are different shapes besides circles. So that it doesn't have to be a volume of revolution problem. We only just started talking about this isn't very straight anymore, but it could be something like that too, where it's a bunch of squares stacked up or a bunch of triangles or rectangles stacked up.
Okay.
So.
Cool.
So when we make the actual diagram, and like let's say that we're making one that's the washer method, like, and if I'm doing it out of cardboard, should I just like color like one of the cardboard pieces to be different to show that like that's like my region that like I'm taking?
Yeah, you could do that.
Okay.
This one and even this one here, they don't have one in particular that's colored because every single one is a cross section.
Okay.
But people have done that in the past too to show that one single cross section. So.
Okay.
Any other questions? You guys want to see the worked out solution again? So can you see my picture too when I'm showing you this, or can you just see this instead?
We can see you too.
Yeah.
Okay. So I could, in theory, I could go write stuff on the board while you're seeing this thing on my screen also.
Yeah. It's too small.
It's like an inch big.
It's whoever's talking, you see their photo.
Yeah.
Okay. So this picture that I have on here, is that very big? Uh-oh.
Yeah. It's not super visible, but we can see it.
Okay. Okay. I wonder, what if I zoomed in on it? Can I zoom in on it maybe?
Yeah, that does help.
Okay, so, whoa, I was trying to move this. There we go. Is there any part of this that you guys would like to see in a little bit more detail? What did I do there?
No. Didn't you say that you posted one to the volume project, like an example?
Yeah, and it's a different one than this one.
Then we can just refer to that one.
Okay. All right. So I am going to have you guys turn in on Google Classroom the homeworks that I assigned. So like the last homework that I assigned before spring break that was on the sheet of paper. Here, let me stop sharing this. So can you see my picture bigger when that goes away?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
So like this, and then, you know, on another piece of paper, the other problems that I assigned to you guys, I'll have you guys turn those in on Google Classroom. You can use like a scanning app. You can take a picture of it, however you want to do it, so that you can load them onto Google Classroom. And, you know, I'll happily answer any questions that you guys need answered to help.
I have a question.
Okay.
About the page one for the non-circular cross sections. Can we go over number 3? That one was, for some reason, very, very confusing to me.
Okay. So I actually just sat and worked them all out this morning, so I'll attempt to just go like this and try to show you here. So can you see the picture that I drew there?
Uh-huh.
Okay. And so because the cross section is a rectangle that is perpendicular to the x-axis, I've drawn a thin little rectangle in there that is, you know, would be perpendicular to the x-axis that ends up being a vertical strip, so that I could figure out what like the top curve and the bottom curve would be. Because this one is a dx problem, everything needs to be in terms of x, and so we've got the function. I can't see it at all, so actually I wonder if I can, I'm trying to, I can't see what I've written there, so I'm trying to see myself a little bit bigger. I don't know what I'm doing here. And all I see is Sophia right now. Anyway, okay, so because the top curve is the y equals 3 and the bottom curve is the y equals, what is it? Y equals e to the x, right?
Yeah.
So the top curve is going to be the 3, the bottom curve is going to be the e to the x, and because it is a dx problem, I do leave that e to the x as an e to the x. I don't need to rewrite it. When we talked about this last one here, the number 4 there, we had to rewrite that y equals ln x so that it was in terms of y, but you don't need to do that on this one. So what I have written at the top there, that a equals the side times 4 times the side, is just showing the area of the rectangle, because the rectangle has the base in the xy plane that has the side length there, and then the height of the rectangle is 4 times as high, and so the height of it would be 4s. And so my area I wrote was s times 4s for the area of that rectangle. Then I simplified that to be 4s squared. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And then I showed how I figured out what s was. Again, I did the top y, or the high y minus the low y. And so that ended up being the 3 minus the, I can't see what I wrote there because this is, yeah, 3 minus e to the x. And then I substituted that into my equation for the area there.
Mm-hmm. So is that the only thing you're gonna be collecting? Because I know there was like other problems.
Mm-hmm. So you guys will turn that part in too.
I was wondering about, for the chapter 6 review, about number 9. Was it 19?
Yeah, 18 and 19.
Okay. So I haven't worked those out yet, so I'm going to need to get my book out and take a look at those problems. So
I was just confused why to square it.
Okay, let me grab my book and just look at what the problem says. And I'll
You mean the area?
questions.
Like the side? Square the sides.
Okay, so we have, it's the review for chapter 6, and what's the problem number?
19.
Let's see.
Okay, so because the cross sections are squares, we have to figure out the length of the side of the square, and that side length is going to be what's in the XY plane. And so let's see, I'm trying to get it visual real quick. So you guys want me to try to write on the board and see if you can see that?
Yeah.
I'm not sure it would. If you flip it that way, it helps.
Oh, it does.
Now you can see the whole board.
Now.
Funny.
Okay, so if I have x squared and y equals 2 minus x squared, something like that. Can you guys see that?
Kind of.
Yeah.
If any of us speak, the screen goes off of you writing.
No one speak.
I'll bet you can change that, maybe. Can you change
If you
it? Only?
swipe over, you can just see the screen of Miss Grassl. That's what I did. If you get out of the multiple screens,
That doesn't work for me because whoever speaks just ends up there.
I can just see Miss Grassl no matter
You
what.
have to swipe it over, Christine.
I did.
Okay, I'm
Why
gonna
is it
mute
the other way?
I'm gonna mute everybody. You guys are currently all muted so that you'll only see me, I think. And now you guys can't talk to each other, so I won't be able to hear your questions. So I'm not sure this is a good thing. But at any rate, we'll just go with this for a second. Okay, so the cross sections are perpendicular to the x-axis. So the cross sections are going to be like that. Those are going to be, they're going to come off the board as squares. And so that right there is like this right here. And then we've got a square where if this here is S, then the height of the square is the same thing. So the area of that square is just going to be whatever that side length is squared. And I am going to unmute you all if I can. Okay, so how are we doing with that? That okay for everybody so far?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, muting you again then. And then we have to figure out what S is. So we've got to have a high Y and a low Y. And so that side length is going to be the Y high minus the Y low. Can you guys see that? Give me a thumbs up if you can see that. Okay. And so the y high is this curve here. And so that's going to be the 2 minus x squared. So my side length is going to be 2 minus x squared minus the y low, which is going to be this curve here, right? This one is my y high, and this one here is my y low. So that's going to be the x squared. So there's my side length. Unmuting you. How are we doing with that?
That's exactly what I got.
So far, so good? Okay, so
yes.
then, because the area is that side length squared, right? Because I want to know the area of a square that's coming up off of the board here, right? And so my area is going to be whatever S is squared. Well, I just figured out that S was that right there. And I can simplify that first to make this all easier. But that's why you have to square that. So if I simplify this, I have 2 minus, is it 2x squared? And then that gets squared here. So my area is 2 minus 2x squared squared. Right? Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know what to do with that from there? Bless
All
you.
right, guys. Thank you.
You guys know what to do from there? Do you want me to keep going? What do you think?
Fine.
So my volume then is going to be what I get when I integrate that area in terms of x, right?
Yes.
And because it is in terms of x, I need to get bounds of integration, right? X values at the beginning and at the end, right? So this is my beginning x value, and that there's going to be my ending x value, right?
Yes.
I have to figure out what those x values are there. Do you guys want me to talk about how you do that?
Yeah.
Okay. So if I take these two functions, the y equals x squared and the y equals 2 minus x squared, because they are both set equal to y, we can set them equal to each other and see where x squared equals 2 minus x squared. So I'm going to add the x squared over and get 2x squared equals 2. Divide both sides by 2, get x squared equals 1. So then x is plus or minus 1. So there's the negative 1 and there's the positive 1. So those are my bounds of integration, negative 1 to positive 1.
So you can do like the integral. It can either be from -1 to 1 or 2 times 0 to 1, right? Because it'll be the same.
That is a very good point, Maggie. Yeah. You guys all understand what she's saying? Because this half right here, because it's symmetrical, is going to be equivalent to the same thing on the other side. I can, instead of doing the volume from -1 to 1, because of the symmetry there, do 2 times the integral from 0 to 1 of that area function. And that'll be easier because when I plug a 0 in, a lot of times it just goes away. So that does make the arithmetic part easier. Did you guys know there's a way you can raise your hand in this app?
No way.
No, what the heck?
So let's play around with that a little bit since you guys are here. On my computer screen, it's down at the bottom. There's.
Is it in more?
So on my computer screen, I go to.
Oh my god, it's in more, guys.
I found it.
Yep, I see a bunch of hands up. I see Lydia's hand up and Sarah's.
So
Oh,
weird.
and Sophia just put her hand back down. Christine's.
How did I put my hand back
Wait,
down?
can
What?
do
Yours
You
is
click
back
it
in.
again
Laughing.
and you click lower hand.
Yeah.
What?
Oh.
And then I saw some
Easy.
reactions too.
What
So-
is
Wait,
virtual
explain,
background
Sarah.
read? Oh my god, guys, do you see
You
this?
have to press the
Okay,
more
go
button.
down to the bottom and hit more, and then you hit raise
Hold
hand,
down.
and it raises.
Does
it.
anyone see this? What I just did to my camera?
Yes.
The golden
Yeah.
gate bridge
So
behind
what,
you.
Miss Grassl? I bet now you can just mute us all, and then when we have a question, we can raise our hand and you unmute
Oh,
us.
that's facts.
Because that'd be so much easier
That's
to
good.
teach. Because every
Oh, we
time
can,
any of
like,
us makes
clap?
a noise,
What?
Yeah.
And we can give a
Terrible.
thumbs up? Wow. Dang.
That's good. That's good. So you guys can give me thumbs up to let me know that you got it. You can put your hand up to let me know that you have a question. I do know when we have a whole class, like if we do this where we have more people, I don't know that I'll be able to see everybody all at once. So that may be a little bit tricky.
I think you can if you have a computer. My friends had class the other day and it was just photos of like all them. But she said it lags really badly and then some people you can't understand. Like her ASL teacher, she goes, I don't even know what happened in that class. So
Yeah, so I know when I was in a meeting, I was only able to see 16 people at a time, but I wonder if I'm the one that's holding the meeting. I bet maybe I can see all the participants at once. You're probably right.
yeah.
That might be okay. Right now I see there's 8 of you guys. Well, I guess there's 7 of you guys because I'm one of the pictures that I see too. So I can also put you into breakout rooms where I could put like Maggie and Sophia in one room and Jackson and Lydia in one room and have you guys go and talk, and then I can visit the rooms where you guys are working on something together, and then I can get everybody back together, which is kind of cool. I have
I have another question, if you're okay with another question.
All right. I'm going to erase the board. Everybody good with that? You can probably do like a screenshot or something if you need to.
Yeah.
Erase that if that's okay. Give me a thumbs
Yeah.
up.
Oh, do you want a virtual thumbs up?
Either way, virtual or your picture. Let's see, Jackson and Ryan, if you guys are there, can you give me a thumbs up with your, can you there, Ryan, I see yours.
Yeah, they're like dead.
I don't know how to do that.
Oh my god, Jackson's alive.
You have to like click the screen and then click more, and there's like a clapping thing or a thumbs up.
Jackson, press more and it's gonna be there.
Yeah.
Oh. No, that's not. I'm on my computer, so that's not how I do it.
Okay, so
Oh,
Ricky
well.
Jackson on a computer. Oh, you got it.
Hold on.
Yay, good job.
Now I don't know how to get rid of it.
No, it's gone.
It just goes away automatically. You
Well,
just
it's
leave it
still okay. I guess it's still there for me, but
Put your hand up, Jackson. Let me see what that, if you can find how to do that.
the clapping thing.
No, hand up.
I think if you click on
says-
mine, it says
it says raise
manage
hand.
participants. Is there something that says manage participants maybe? Because that.
No, it says raise hand, Jackson.
Yeah, that's a no-go for me. That's not here.
All right. Well, something to look at and see if you can figure out.
All right.
But yeah, I think there's like along the bottom something near manage participants, or I don't know, something like that, where you could yeah.
Oh,
that
found it.
There it is. Yay.
All right.
Okay. And
so
you guys can also go click on, there's a chat. So I don't know if it's like this on your phone too, but if I do have you guys muted, you could ask questions in that chat.
There's a
Oh yeah, I
chat.
see it.
Am I stupid?
No, it's just like you hit more, and it's right below the thumbs up chat.
Oh,
There's
like a
Sarah.
fun.
So that might be a way to be able to ask me a question too, if if I've got you guys muted or something. So okay. Maggie, what's your question?
So I wasn't able to do 6.5 and we didn't have time to go over it anyway, but I haven't done it, and I'm wondering about, there's this one section, problems like 30 through 35, I think, that you assigned, or like whatever ones that they were. And I was having problems with like figuring out how to set up the integral, I guess, with say there's something like y equals 1 or like x equals 1, and I was unsure, like, because you had to subtract that value from the function, but it changed as well, like as I was going through them, and it didn't make that much sense to me. And so I was wondering if you could go over 30 and 32, and not the whole thing, but just like setting that part up.
Okay.
I guess.
So 30.
30 on what?
This is
On
page
6.5. On
529.
6.5.
Yeah, section 6.5. It's from a previous homework assignment.
Oh, okay.
Because we weren't really able to do anything.
Yeah, because our last day was a half an hour instead.
Yeah, that was really rude. I did not want to go to physics again.
You know what's really rude? The fact that that's like our last day of senior year. That.
Hopefully not.
You know what's gonna be really
Hopefully
terrible
not.
is that if we
No, for
receive
sure.
our diplomas through an email. Okay?
Oh,
That's kind of walking on graduation.
My
We're
family
gonna
already
have
bought
a Zoom
tickets to come down.
graduation. Zoom is
Okay,
gonna
so
be
technically you guys have to come into school after you graduate to pick up your diplomas anyway. So
Are
when,
we even gonna do a walking graduation? Like, or is it just gonna be like, cool, you're done?
I think
Congrats.
you're done kind of
I
thing.
think that
we can do an
when all
online
this
graduation.
ends, we will figure something out. And I think that I would like to see a graduation ceremony happen. Even if everybody can't make it, there may be people out of town, but I would like to see that happen. So, okay. So
So
number
rude.
30, we're looking at region 1 about BC.
Mm-hmm.
Region 1 about BC. Okay, so let me just draw that real quick. So we have region.
Oh yeah, those are really hard for me.
Yeah.
Region 1, and then it's about BC, which is that one right there. So they don't tell us, but this line right here has to be y equals x. This line right here is x equals 1. And then this gets revolved. And so if I were to draw its reflection, it ends up being up here. And I end up with the outside shape is like a cylinder. And then the inside that's been taken out of that is a cone.
See, now that would have been nice to know.
So
Could
that's
you-
the important thing. You have to take some time when you start these to figure out what is it that you're actually trying to find.
Could you mute us again? That way we can just see the.
Okay, so let me, before I mute you guys, do you have any questions about what this shape here is, what it looks like?
A cone. This is 31, right?
It's 30.
30.
Oh, 30. Thank you.
Okay, muting you, and then you can raise your hand, and hopefully I'll see it if you have a question. Wait, not muted yet. Okay. So the region, like if I'm going to draw a thin strip, that thin strip is right here. And when that thin strip revolves, it creates a washer shape. So that right there ends up being a washer shape with a hole in the middle of it, right? Something like that. When we did these, we talked about finding a big radius and a little radius and grabbing different colors to show you the big radius and the little radius. So the big radius goes from the center to the outside edge of the shape. And remember, you always want to use the shaded region. I don't want to go to this part up here because this was the reflection that I drew just to make this shape look three-dimensional. So again, I go from the axis of rotation to the outside edge, and that's going to be my big radius. And then from the axis of rotation, no, I don't want to use black, to the inside edge, or to the edge of the hole, and that's going to be my little radius. And so remember what we end up with. This shape here is the area of that there is going to be pi times the big radius squared minus the little radius squared, right? Where again, that is my little radius and that there is my big radius. And so now it's a matter of determining what is my big radius and what is my little radius. So my big radius doesn't change throughout the whole shape from the smallest x to the largest x. That radius is going to be from that axis down to that line, and it never changes. And so if you said top, or the y high to y low, you could say that's going to be 1 minus 0 the whole way through. So that big radius is just 1. Everybody good with that? Okay. My little radius is going to be the tricky one here. The little radius goes from, again, this line up here, and then it hits this curve right here. Well, that curve is the line y equals x, right? That right there, y equals x, is this low y. So my y high is 1, and my y low is the y equals x. So that's my little radius. And then I am going to substitute the 1 in for big R and the 1 minus x in for little r. And so the area of a single cross section is pi times big R squared minus little r squared. And I'm going to unmute you guys so that we can talk about it for a minute. Okay, so you guys are now unmuted. What do you think? Questions?
It makes sense.
Yeah, it makes better sense when you do it.
when you explain it.
Yeah.
And you know, I do want to have you guys practice this a little bit more. It's one of my favorite things in calculus, and it's unfortunately one of the things that's not getting tested on. So so we won't spend a lot more time with this, but we will revisit it a little bit more before we totally go away from it.
Sure.
Yeah. I think that helps for the other problems, because I guess, I don't know if it was just me, but I was forgetting that for each of the radiuses, you have to do y high minus y low, not just like the whole thing. It has to be each one, and that was confusing me. So
good. So that was worth doing then for you.
Thank you for that.
You guys know what your bounds of integration are going to be?
We'll figure it out.
It's just going to be 0 to 1, right?
Right, because it's a dx problem, because those cross sections are perpendicular to the x-axis, right? Your lowest x is 0, and your highest x is 1.
So, is the volume project still going to be due Friday?
We just send photos.
What, Ms. Grassl?
That's what I was planning on. Yeah, I was planning on having it due Friday still, but we could certainly talk about it. You know, maybe tomorrow when we have a meeting with everybody in class, we'll talk about it a little bit more. And if people want a little bit more time, that's, you know, we can talk about that. That's no big deal.
Should we mail you our volume project
or drop it off at your house? I'm kidding.
And if, you know, when this all ends, whether we are done with school or not, I would love to have the volume projects. I like to keep them to show future classes, as you have witnessed from, you know, the ones that you guys have gotten to see this year. Those were all from last year's class. Well, no, one of them is from a few years ago. This one here was from a couple years ago, and I just kind of liked it, so I hang on to it, because I don't have very many examples when they're not a volume revolution with the cross sections being circles. So anyway,
okay, fun.
Yeah.
So how are they gonna let us know about like the schedule and that stuff? Is that gonna be an email sent out today or tomorrow as everyone's sleeping?
That's a really good question.
We're gonna wake up and be like, I have to be on Zoom at 7:30.
I'm gonna be asleep until 9:30.
I think that I think tomorrow we have another faculty meeting. I'm hoping they will So there's a message from Rachel about her meeting with the superintendent right now.
Oh, funsies.
I know, I want to see what it says. Hold on.
Tell us the results.
Okay, hold on. You can't see me right now, can you?
No,
We
we
can.
can't.
Okay.
So, how's everyone's break so far?
I literally haven't done anything.
Oh, good. My dad has made me run at least like 5 times throughout this whole break.
Oh yeah, except for working out. But I got laid off from work because my work had to shut down too.
Ugh.
I went to Spring Lake one of the days, and literally it was packed. It was worse than like New Year's Eve. There was
Are
like
you serious?
hundreds of people there.
I went to Shiloh, the regional park, a couple days ago, and there were so many people. I dropped my phone, so I almost lost my phone down a hill. That was fun.
That's
And then my dad made me run uphill like 8 times. It was horrible.
Gotta save shame.
Yard work this whole time. My mom's on like a rampage to like get like the outside looking good, and or the lawnmower isn't working, so we have to use a weed whacker, and I don't
Ew.
like
Gross. My dad was so bored yesterday, he organized my mom's cabinets. And my mom got really annoyed. So she just walked away from him. So that was really funny.
Yeah. I've been so bored that I've literally cleaned my room like 30 times, and I don't think I've ever seen my room so clean before.
My parents made a patio in our backyard.
Oh my god, fun!
That's good,
Like-
because you're going to be spending some time back there.
Right?
I didn't do
Because
anything
there's
to my
nowhere else
room.
to go.
I didn't do anything. I organized my drawers, I put up my flag, and that was about it.
Okay, I've got my
so,
own room.
You got your own room?
through tomorrow. I don't know details. I don't know details about
fun.
tomorrow. We don't have a set schedule yet. I think we'll probably, if we get a set schedule, it will start next week, I'm guessing. And so maybe I'll send out a message to everybody today. You know what, let me see. I know Mr. Dunkel has a meeting for the staff scheduled for tomorrow. So let me make sure I don't schedule a meeting for us at the same time.
So we're not gonna
Yeah,
have
are you gonna have
overlapping meetings, right? Like y'all are gonna make sure that like English isn't the same time as like math, and I don't.
That's what I
have
was saying.
2 things
You might
open
want to send an
at once.
email to the other teachers too, being like, my AP Calculus seniors and some juniors are gonna be busy at this time.
This is
is
my
so rude.
slot. Don't schedule anything in this slot.
Do you guys, have you gotten anything from anybody yet?
No.
My
No.
culinary
Nothing
teacher
from
emailed
school,
us.
nothing from anyone
and,
but
like,
you.
Literally, it makes no sense. She emailed us, and like
Who? What?
my culinary teacher like
Uh-huh.
emailed us, Miss May, and then she assigned us a quiz, but you can't even like write or like access on the quiz. And then I tried to like tell her in a class comment, and then she made it to where you can't comment at all. And so I don't really know, but yeah, that like
Yeah,
happened.
I'm a TA. She sent me the quiz and all that stuff, and I'm like, I don't do that.
Okay, time out. So you guys have to keep in mind as we go through all of this that there are a lot of teachers that have no idea what we're doing right now.
Okay, facts.
And we're trying things that we've never had to try before. And so you have to be patient and yeah, probably sending private messages so that you're not embarrassing the teacher in front of everybody would be good.
It won't even like let you. Like it won't even let you.
Just email her.
Yeah, but that's
Miss
what I was
Grassl,
gonna say, is just send her.
I have to go now
Okay.
for the call, but it was nice being in class with all of you guys.
Okay. I'll send a message about our time for tomorrow.
Okay.
Can you make it not early
Bye.
in the morning? I like to sleep.
It will not be early.
Oh, goody.
It will be after the 9 o'clock meeting that I have with the rest of the faculty.
Oh, funsies. Okay, cool.
So how about we plan on like 10:30 tomorrow?
All right.
For a class?
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll try
How
to,
long do
Is
you
it gonna-
think the class will be?
Yeah.
Is it going to be like an hour and a half like we normally have like a block schedule, or do you think like an hour? Or...
I just want to check in with everybody more than anything. And, you know, kind of tell people about what's going on with the AP exam, tell people what we really need to do for getting ready for that AP exam still. And and just give you guys other updates that I know at that point. Hopefully I'll know more at that point tomorrow than I do right now. And then, yeah, so I wouldn't expect it to be very long. I'll say a half an hour, and then that way people can be on from 10:30 to 11. And if they have something else they need to go do, they can. And if they want to stay on and ask questions at that time, then I'll make myself available for that.
Can you send a reminder?
Is there a reminder on Zoom that like lets you know? Because like
yeah, but you have to like set it in your calendar. So like if you download the app on your phone, you can like there's like these options of like profile and calendar and stuff. If you like make your calendar schedule for the week of like all the Zoom things that you have to do, it will send you like a notification like, hey, you have to see Miss Grassl's class at 10:30. Like that's in 20 minutes. So it will.
I think that I can also I think that I can create the Zoom meetings in Google Calendar, and I think I can send you guys invitations using your email addresses. And then I think from there, you should be able to add it directly to your calendar, so you'll get the reminders. So I will try that for tomorrow's meeting. How's that sound?
Yeah, I think that's what Miss J did yesterday. She goes, a Zoom meeting tomorrow at 9. I slept through that.
Oh.
I didn't even open it. It's like, there's no point. It's like advisory. I'm fine. I'm just bored. So.
You have advisory meetings on Zoom?
Miss J set one up just to check in, and I'm like, I'm just gonna sleep.
Miss J has just emailed our class and was like, you have to sign up for this website for dance tutorials. And apparently now we're learning dance off of the phone, which I've had to learn a dance off of video before, and it's like the hardest thing you could do for dance.
YOLO.
So that's when grades going down.
You know, my grade up went up in math. That's all I care about.
Same. I did so good on that retest.
What'd you get, Sarah?
I'm not saying it over Zoom.
I know. I was gonna say, how about we all say goodbye here, and you guys can create your own Zoom meetings and continue to hang out if you want to.
Oh my god, that's so facts. So back to the volume project. You don't care what equations we do. We just have to make it, show your problems, describe it, and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
and
cool.
A rubric. And so you can look at the rubric to make sure that you followed all the steps in the rubric, and then you should be good to go.
Okay, solid. This is a lot
Lydia,
easier than I thought it was going to be.
Head now.
A little treat.
Okay, this is a lot. Okay, I'm changing my object.
Right.
It's going to be a lot easier now. Thank
Okay,
you.
I'll see you guys tomorrow around 10:30.
10:30.
I'll set that up right now. Cool.
Thank you. All
right, thanks guys.
Bye.
Bye everybody.